Okay, so we are going to continue our coverage over the New 52 Superman, and we actually do pick up with Batman and Superman Volume 5 once again, the second story from this particular volume. Now, with that being said, we're continuing our coverage over the Truth era of Superman comics. Now, remember, around this point in DC Comics, two big things happened to Superman. The first is that he was depowered, not completely, but mostly depowered. See, when it came to Superman, he gained a new ability known as the solar flare. Now, when it came to the solar flare, he was able to release a huge amount of energy. The problem is though, once he did that, he would need time to recharge. Unfortunately, the last time he did it, his cells did not recharge. Because remember, when it comes to Superman, all he needs is solar energy from a yellow sun, our yellow sun. But unfortunately, his cells never did recharge. And so he's only mostly depowered, not completely. Now, the second thing is that Lois Lane told the entire world that Clark Kent was Superman. Now, there was a good reason, I guess, because when it came to Superman, he was being blackmailed by a certain villain known as Horridor. And so when it came to Horridor, he was going to tell the entire world that Clark Kent was Superman unless Superman helped him out. So Lois Lane thought it would be a good idea to just go ahead and tell the entire world that he is Superman so that he could no longer be blackmailed. Now, of course, that led to a whole lot more problems for Clark Kent, but unfortunately, he has to go ahead and face these different kind of problems that were created by Lois Lane telling his major secret. Now, when it comes to the Truth era of Superman comics, it's all leading into one particular event known as Savage Dawn. Now, when it comes to Savage Dawn, of course, the main bad guy is Vandal Savage, but all four separate Superman titles were leading into that crossover right there. So you had Superman, Action Comics, Superman and Wonder Woman, and Batman and Superman. But all four books were telling different kind of stories that were all leading into one particular event known as Savage Dawn. Now, the last time we covered a Batman and Superman story, well, it was the first time Superman met this Batman. And what I mean by that is, when it came to DC around this point, they had just removed Bruce Wayne and replaced him with Jim Gordon to be the Batman of Gotham City. And so when Clark Kent came to Gotham looking for Bruce, well, he found Jim instead. And of course, it was a whole new kind of thing for each character to go through, because usually when Clark comes to Gotham, he knows that Bruce is going to help him. Instead, he got Jim. And when it came to Jim, he cannot trust Clark Kent at all. Now, the reason why he could not trust Clark is because Clark is mostly depowered and still trying to be this big time hero that he no longer is. And of course, it's putting a lot of innocent people in danger. But the thing is though, is Clark saying, even though innocent people are in danger, just know I'm still going to try my best to protect them. But the thing is, I'm still going to fail because I am a person. Now, for Jim Gordon, that's not okay at all. And so in our last storyline, they were forced to work together to stop a new group of bad guys known as Dawn Command. Now, when it comes to Dawn Command, they have no idea that they work for, of course, Vandal Savage. Either way, when it came to Dawn Command, they arrived in Gotham City and stole a miniature version of the sun. Yes, a smaller version of the sun that was created to bring in pure energy to Gotham, or possibly a huge part of the world. Now the thing was though, Dawn Command came in, took that sun and disappeared. And our heroes have no idea why Dawn Command did that. But when it comes to Batman, he feels like it's Superman's fault they got away. And so for Batman, he wants Clark out of Gotham completely. And so getting into today's storyline, we actually do pick up with Jim Gordon currently asking different members of the GCPD to do scans all over Gotham. And the reason why? because he wants to make sure that Superman actually did leave Gotham like he told Clark at the end of our last video. Except he does get a call from Clark, and it's Clark telling him, no, I have not left Gotham at all. And matter of fact, I'm not going to leave until I am able to figure out why Dawn Command attacked Wayne Enterprises and why they stole that sun. Because right now, we have to figure out what they're trying to do. Now, this is still Clark hoping that maybe him and Jim could work together. But at the same time, it's Clark saying, no, Jim does not trust me. I don't trust him. Now, I try to work with him, but unfortunately, he does not want to work with me. And so I have to do this on my own and to hopefully save Gotham or possibly the entire world. And so he is able to find different members of Dawn Command. And so right now, his goal is to hopefully just capture them and try to get some intel from them as well. And so right when we see him getting ready to take in all these different members of this particular group of Dawn Command, that is when a huge explosion happens, sending him flying back into the ground hard. Now remember, he has been mostly depowered, and so something like that could seriously hurt him. Now with him being mostly depowered, the powers that he lost is his super speed, his X-ray vision, his durability, and also his solar flare. There's also other powers as well, but the only powers he had apparently kept is his super strength, but not his complete super strength. But on top of that, the book does tell us he has his heat vision as well. Either way, when it comes to that huge explosion, it did some damage to him. Now, out of nowhere, you do have one person hiding in the shadows begin to shoot at him, and he has no choice but to try to dodge those bullets. And this is where we come to find out who is the leader of Dawn Command. It is Vandal Savage. Now, usually when it comes to a battle between Vandal Savage and Superman, he would be able to take down Vandal so easily. But again, Superman has been depowered. And so when it comes to Vandal Savage, he actually does have the advantage over Superman. Because when it came to that meteorite that changed Vandal Savage all those years ago, it also gave him superhuman strength, superhuman speed, durability, and the list goes on. And so he is able to do some heavy damage on Superman. And unfortunately, Clark never truly did learn how to properly fight. And what I mean by that is, when it comes to Clark, yes, he learned how to fight in some ways, but not in the best ways to kind of defend himself in a situation like this right here. But at the same time, it is Vandal Savage who does have a lot more power than he does, and so Vandal is able to give Clark one heck of a beat down. Now, as the fight goes on, you do have Vandal just throwing Clark all over the place. Now, as soon as Vandal turns his back to Superman to talk to some of his henchmen, when he does turn back over to Clark, Clark had disappeared. And the reason why? Because Batgirl came in, grabbed Clark, and got him the heck out of there. Because she knew if he had stayed, Vandal Savage would have most likely killed off Superman right then and there. And so we see Batgirl take Superman back over to the Batcave to give him proper medical help. Now, once she does that and he wakes up, his main goal is to remove her from this case. Because when it comes to Batgirl and the rest of the Bat family, for Clark Kent, they're children. But at the same time, they're Batman's children. And so with Bruce Wayne being gone and no longer being Batman, he knows if something happens to Jason, Dick, or Barbara, it would break Bruce Wayne's heart. He looks at them as his own children. And so it's Clark saying, no, I don't need your help. Except it's Batgirl saying, no, clearly you did need my help. One, you got your butt whooped by Vandal Savage, and two, you're in Gotham City. But three, I want to teach you a lesson, because it may seem like Batman always did everything by himself, but in reality, he had the Bat family there with him to help him through all the different kinds of problems. And so right now, it's the Bat family coming here to help you. Now, that is when you have her say, you know what, it's time for us to find Vandal Savage, because she already knows what's happening right now when it comes to Clark and Vandal Savage. One, she already knows that all the henchmen that work for Dawn Command or for Vandal Savage, they come from the past. But the question is right now, how was he able to get them from the past over to the present day? But on top of that, a lot of different weapons that he has been giving them are also from the past as well. Again though, where did these weapons all come from? And so it's her right now trying to figure out how to find Vandal Savage. Now, once she does her scan, she realized that there's a huge amount of energy in one location. And with that one location, most of that energy is very similar to the same energy that was coming off Vandal Savage and his henchmen, but also the weapons that they were using. And so you have her tell Clark, let's go there and figure out what in the world this man is actually planning. And so you have Barbara and Clark go over to Siberia. And when they do arrive, well, they actually arrive at this decommissioned nuclear site that belongs to Russia. Now, here's the thing though, because there are some nuclear bombs or nuclear missiles that are right now buried face first in the snow. But apparently when it came to this location, there was a huge amount of energy that is very similar to what Vandal Savage releases off his body, but also the weapons that he used as well. Either way, you have Barbara ask, what in the world is going on here? Why was Vandal Savage coming here for? And we kind of find out that there is a small group of village people working at this decommissioned site. And the reason why? Because Vandal Savage told them to find a way to move all these different kinds of nuclear missiles, but at the same time start mining this place for uranium. Now, here's the thing though, because when it comes to these nuclear missiles, they could still go off. If one slip up happens, that right there is a huge explosion happening in this particular area, poisoning this area for at least 100 years. Either way though, it's right now these small town people just trying to do their job to please Vandal Savage. Now, when it comes to Clark, he wants to go down there and just go ahead and fight against Vandal Savage, or go down there and try to get these people out of there away from him. Except you have Barbara say, listen, we saw what happened the last time you fought against Vandal Savage. He whooped your butt. Instead, we need to think of a new game plan to protect those people, but to also take him down as well, but to also figure out what he is trying to do. And so we kind of find out that Barbara called in two more members of the Bat family, Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. And so as we get into the second chapter of the storyline, we do pick up with the people of the small village trying to do their task for Vandal Savage to technically remove all these different kinds of nuclear missiles and then to dig up all the uranium in this hidden area. Now, while they're doing that, well, that is when they are confronted by some shadows. And of course, they believe it is Vandal Savage. So right now they are freaking out, and the leader of the group does pull out a gun and try to shoot the shadows, to only have the gun taken away from him. And to kind of find out that he just took a shot at Batgirl, Red Hood, and Dick Grayson, and Superman. Now, the reason why I'm calling Dick Grayson and not Nightwing, because around this point in the New 52, he was not Nightwing. He was a super spy and better known as Grayson. That was it. Now, when it comes to these small town people meeting Superman, they're excited. And the reason why, because the last thing they heard about Superman is that he's this super powerful being, and they believe that he'll be able to take out Vandal Savage. The thing is, with them being out in the middle of Siberia, unfortunately, they don't get news at all, hardly ever. And so they have no idea that Homeboy right now is a character who's mostly depowered, but on top of that, his real name is Clark Kent. And once they hear that he is mostly depowered, they're all like, great, how in the world can you help us? Now, when it comes to Batgirl, Red Hood, and Grayson, unfortunately, these people still do not believe in them either. As a matter of fact, it seems like they never even heard of these three sidekicks to Batman. Now, when a nuclear missile is about to drop on top of them, you have Clark being able to catch it to show that he still has some of his super strength, not all of it. But with that happening, you then have these small town folks think that, you know what, maybe these heroes could actually help us take down Vandal Savage and live a better life. Now, when it comes to Clark Kent, he does have a game plan here. And his game plan is really more of to train all the different people in this group right now onto how to protect themselves against Vandal Savage, or in case they want to disappear, how to stay hidden. And if he does find you, how to protect yourself against him. And so when it comes to Clark Kent, he does have a game plan to help these people, but to also take down Vandal Savage. So when it comes to Batgirl, with her being so great with tech, her main goal is to figure out how in the world Vandal Savage is able to teleport over here. When it comes to Dick Grayson, he is going to give everybody a new identity so that if they want to disappear and get away from Savage, they should be able to when it comes to him giving them different identities. And when it comes to Red Hood, well, with Red Hood being a well-trained gun user, he is going to teach every single one of them how to properly use a weapon. And so this leads into Superman and the members of the Bat family beginning the process of training these people in different ways. Now, here's the thing though, because while you have Batgirl, Dick, and also Red Hood kind of showing that they believe in his game plan and trying to put on fake smiles to cheer up the people that they are helping, Clark is not really giving off that vibe that he feels like this plan is going to work. And the reason why he is thinking that, because he was technically beaten down by Vandal Savage big time. And so unfortunately, he truly does believe that when it comes to, you know, this whole idea of will these folks be able to hide from Vandal Savage? Will him and the Bat family be able to take down Vandal Savage? Unfortunately, he has no, trust in either game plan. He feels like both ideas are going to fail. And the reason why? Because he is just a person. People always do make mistakes. The thing is though, you have to learn from your mistakes. But the problem is right now is Clark feeling like this entire game plan, this whole idea is going to be one heck of a mistake that he may not be able to live with. And so that leads into a conversation between Red Hood and Superman. Now, when it comes to this conversation, it's Red Hood realizing that, yeah, when it comes to Clark, Clark believes that this plan may not work. And the problem is though, his doubts are getting bigger and bigger, and his trust in his plan is getting smaller and smaller. And so it's Red Hood saying, how bad did Vandal Savage beat you? And you have Clark say, you know what, it was pretty bad. But the thing is, that's Red Hood saying, that's your problem. Because you are so beaten badly and because you're depowered, you're afraid of the idea of family. But here's an idea for you. Why not go ahead and go to the next step? And what Red Hood means by that is, why not go ahead and kill off Vandal Savage? Why not change our game plan to prepare a trap for him to basically kill him off? Now, you already know you have Batgirl and Dick step in and say, no, we are not going to kill anybody at all. We're not like that. We're the Bat family. We don't kill. In reality, yes, y'all do what Red Hood does sometimes. Either way, you have Clark also agreeing the idea that we're not going to kill Vandal Savage, but at the same time, we still have to make sure that this game plan is going to work. We still have to make sure that we can take down Vandal Savage. Now, out of nowhere, you do have Clark and the Bat family get attacked by these shadow creatures. Now, remember, we saw these shadow creatures over in Action Comics. It was Action Comics because it was Superman fighting against another character known as Wraith. Now, when it came to Wraith, she was the one originally in control of the shadow creatures, except at the end of that storyline, we saw her lose control of the creatures to Vandal Savage. And so right now, these shadow creatures are attacking Clark in the Bat family. Now, our heroes are able to take these guys out very quickly, but the question is right now, why did these creatures just randomly appear? What were they trying to protect over here? Now, when it comes to our heroes, they do get some backup. The thing is though, their backup is actually Batman. Now, it's not Bruce Wayne Batman, it is actually Jim Gordon Batman. Now, when it comes to Jim being here, I want to say I know that Batgirl met Jim Gordon as Batman, but I don't know if the other Bat family members have actually met Jim Gordon being Batman. Either way, he does arrive and he does help out the other heroes to fight against these shadow creatures. And when it comes to Batgirl, she wants to know who in the world called in Batman. And you have Clark saying, I did, because it's Clark realizing that he does need all hands on deck. But on top of that, he feels like if they're going to be able to take down Dawn Command, they're going to need his help as well, because Batman was also dealing with Dawn Command in our last storyline. Now, you do have Batman come over to Superman and the Bat family, and when he does, it's really more of Batman saying, hey, listen here. When it came to Clark, he did send me a lot of data about this place, and I was able to look over that data and realize that there are a lot of problems here in this area. And what he means by that is, when it comes to this particular area, it's supposed to be a decommissioned nuclear site here in the middle of Russia. The thing is though, there are no guards here at all. And matter of fact, you had Jim Gordon do a deep dive into information about this place. And apparently there were a lot of politicians who originally had a problem with this nuclear site. The thing is though, they all just gave up all at once. And it seemed like somebody gave them a lot of money to shut up and not talk about this place anymore. But on top of that, you have Batman say, listen, when it came to the shadow creatures, the reason why they were attacking us was because they're trying to defend this area. And so it's him saying, when it comes to Vandal Savage, he's not just here to mine uranium, he's trying to power something up. Think about it. In our last story, he stole a smaller version of the sun. But the question is though, what for? And so you have Batman shoot a bunch of missiles to clear out a lot of snow to reveal some kind of powerful weapon that is technically a plane, but on this plane or, jet whatever, it does hold a lot of powerful weapons. But apparently when it comes to Vandal Savage, this is what he's trying to power up. This is what he's trying to unbury. This is what he's trying to use for unknown reasons. Now, as we jump into the third chapter of this book, we do get a flashback when Jim Gordon was still just really Jim Gordon. But apparently he was in Metropolis and there was this huge attack happening in Metropolis. It was the first time Jim was able to see Superman be Superman, being this great hero. Now, while he was out there trying to be a hero, Jim Gordon also saw Jimmy Olsen there, except Jimmy was on a rooftop trying to get pictures of Superman. Now the thing was though, Jim fell off the building, but Superman realized that there was something else about to hit the earth, and that was more important than saving Jimmy's life. Now when it came to Jim Gordon, he actually saw that a tad bit different. And what I mean by that is, when it came to Jim, he believed the reason why Clark decided to stop the attack rather than save Jimmy's life because Batman was there. That Superman had trust in Batman, knowing that Batman will back him up so that he'll be able to save the day. But in reality, it was just Clark Kent saying, unfortunately, I have to let my friend die to save billions of lives from this one attack. But back in the present day, it's now Jim Gordon looking at Clark Kent as this depowered, worthless hero. He thinks back to the time where Superman was Superman, powerful, but also relying on other people. But unfortunately for Jim, it's more of, how can I rely on you when you're somebody not able to actually protect yourself, but protect the people around you anymore, because you are now depowered. And that Batman, the one you worked alongside with, he's now gone. Now I'm Batman. having to work alongside with you. Either way, you have Batgirl realize that when it comes to this random jet, it's actually been rewired as a way to be a cannon rather than a jet. All the power is going into the cannons on this particular jet. And so it's Batgirl wondering, what is Vandal Savage trying to do? But Red Hood reminds us that this weapon is being charged by a huge amount of solar energy. But getting back to Clark Kent's perspective, we see that when it came to the idea of saving Jimmy or saving the entire world, he just went ahead and chose to save the world over Jimmy. He had no idea that Batman was there or not. It was him saying that, unfortunately, when it comes to saving the world, it means a whole lot more than saving one single life. Now, it's also Clark saying that he felt like he made a huge mistake. But Bruce Wayne Batman back then told him, listen, if it came down to him as well, he would have done the same thing, meaning that he would sacrifice a loved one to save the entire world, because that right there is more important than just trying to save your loved one who could possibly die right after you saved that loved one. And so when it comes to Clark, he's kind of like, you know, having that Batman there who trusts you, wants to work with you, and believes in you was great. And here I am now in the present day with a Batman who does not trust me, who does not want to work with me, but unfortunately he has no choice but to work with me. And so getting into the present day again, we do see Batman, Superman, and the Bat family getting ready for this master plan they're going to do to hopefully bring down Vandal Savage. Now, here's the thing though, because before they are able to go through their plan, you have Superman pull Batman over to the side and say, listen, I know you don't like me, and I know you hate the idea that I said I'm going to protect all those different people, and you think that I'm reckless. But here's the thing, I'm just a person. I'm always going to make mistakes, but it's up to me to learn from those mistakes. But I also realize I'm not a god. Again, I am a person. So I know that even though I told you and the rest of the Bat family that we are going to protect these people, I know that's a huge task to say. I know it's crazy for me to say nobody is going to die tonight, but that's the thing. That's my goal, and that goal right there motivates me to be a hero. But again, I'm just a person, not a human, a person that will always ends up making mistakes. And that right there shows Batman, Jim Gordon, that, you know what, maybe I judge Clark a tad bit too hard. And so when it comes to the first part of Batman and Superman's plan, their main goal is to actually attack the base of Vandal Savage. Now, we're not told exactly where this base is at, and matter of fact, what kind of base this is, but you do have our heroes use the teleporter that Vandal Savage left in Siberia as a way to teleport over to where he is at, his base. And once they do arrive, it's Superman right now just trying to bring his place down. Now remember, this is a mostly depowered Superman. And so when it comes to Vandal Savage, he does have the edge over Superman. When they're fighting, our hero is getting his butt kicked again. Now, luckily for Superman, Batman steps in. And when Batman steps in, it kind of gives our heroes the edge, but their main goal is to kind of destroy all the different engines or power in this actual base to shut down the teleporter that Vandal Savage uses as a way to teleport to different locations. And the reason why? To buy our heroes a few more hours to accomplish their master plan. And this is where the story really does wrap up very quickly. And what I mean by that is we do pick up with Vandal Savage currently arriving to the location where our heroes are at. He had regained the ability to teleport. Now, when he does arrive, that is when he finds out the heroes now know about his powerful weapon. Now, here's the thing though, because when it comes to Vandal Savage, he wants to use the weapon on them first and then other targets across the world. Because remember, Batgirl said all the power in that jet were being pushed towards one particular weapon on that jet. And with that jet being powered by a mini sun, that weapon is super powerful. Now, when it comes to Vandal Savage, he is able to make his way over to his actual jet, and he does try to use the weapon on our heroes. Unfortunately though, with Batgirl being so great with tech, she was able to reinvert that power back over to the engine. And so unfortunately, when it comes to the jet, Vandal Savage can no longer use the jet as a weapon. Instead, it's now just a jet again that he can fly around. And matter of fact, when he turns on the power and tries to use it, it sends him flying in a different direction. Now, when it comes to Vandal Savage, he tries to escape from the jet. And when he tries to do that, well, something happens in the jet that leads into it actually exploding. And so we're left to believe that he was just killed off right then and there. And you really have the book end on that note right there. It's a very quick, fast wrap up because right after the idea of Vandal Savage being dead, you didn't have Batman and Superman technically shake hands to the idea that they are two different heroes who could work together. And if they do, it would be a great thing for the entire world. And then you have Clark think back to the old days when he was, a fully powered Superman, working alongside with Bruce Wayne, and how great of a team they were while working together. Now, unfortunately though, after Volume 5, Greg Pak, the original writer of this series, he left, and Tom Taylor took over after him. And on top of that though, I want to say, after this book right here, well, it came to Batman, Jim Gordon stopped being Batman and Bruce Wayne came right back. So this whole idea of, look, we got Batman and Superman, a new Batman, a depowered Superman, it all went out the window very quickly. But either way, this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.